Welcome to Eagle Eye.
What a break from Manolo!
Interviewing your favorite USA Eagles around the globe.
Tony Lamb into the 22.
Now, here's your host, Bill Baker.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the Eagle-Eyed Rugby Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please take a moment to like, subscribe, and follow the podcast on your favorite podcast player, or go ahead and leave a comment on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well if you're watching the video version, obviously. But I very much appreciate that kind of input back from you guys. All right, getting into it. Look for some interviews each week coming up in the next 3 or 4 weeks. Instead of every 2 weeks, I'm going to release them every week now, just to kind of kick off the Major League Rugby season as well. And speaking of Major League Rugby, we just kicked off our USA Rugby Happy Hour Live show on Twitter Spaces with Major League Rugby Commissioner George Killebrew last Thursday. We used to do that show live on Clubhouse app, but we moved over to Twitter Spaces, hoping to get more of you involved in the show. It's a great show. It's a lot of fun. It's an hour of some of the biggest names in USA Rugby. John Fitzpatrick of Rugby Morning and myself ask some questions, but we have you as the listeners come up and ask questions yourself. It's really cool. It's kind of like a call-in radio show or live podcast. This Thursday, we have Dan Power from Major League Rugby Kickoff Podcast. Also just stopped doing broadcasting for Major League Rugby as well. So we'll talk to him about his future plans and about Major League Rugby in general. So tune in on Thursday. And then we'll also announce our next Thursday's guest during that show. All right, let's go right back to the Eagle Eye Rugby Podcast. Today's guest is one of my favorite. I've had him on a few times, Will Hooley. Will and I, we talk about his move from Saracens to San Diego. You know, he and his wife moved to San Diego. And let's just say they're not really missing the English weather right now. So we talk about the team, the coaches, you know, people like Nunu and Robshaw on the roster with him, you know, and what their expectations are this season. And we talk about the team, about who they're facing. You know, he's a really good conversation. You know, he has his own podcast out. Also, check him out on your podcast player. But here we are with Will Hooley. Hope you enjoy it. Are you missing the English weather this time of year?
Oh, Bill, that's not even a question now. Yeah, I should say there's not even a response to that.
Right. You
can tell by my smile, I am not missing anything to do with January or February, you know, weather in the UK. No, it's a very special spot here in California, Southern California, and just loving it. If nothing else, just loving it. I mean, there's lots to love, but the weather is very, very good.
And what's been the best thing about San Diego so far?
Oh, I think just for my wife and I think honestly the lifestyle of we're literally 2 blocks from the beach. We actually live just north of San Diego in Carlsbad, which is also where our HQ is, San Diego Legion HQ. And then on a rugby front, just being around just great guys, whether it be, you know, the veterans of great names such as Mark Nonu or Chris Robshaw or Dion Passong or Joe Peterson. I mean, I could name a few. Or also just being around like younger guys and like just keen guys in the team that I really like the atmosphere. No disrespect to the places I've been before in the UK, but yeah, I do just like the sort of general environment, I think, of the Legion and being in San Diego.
Exactly. It's not a lot that's wrong with that. Situation was great. And talking about the Legion, you know, let's talk about how that move happened. You know, was this the destination for you, and, you know, why the move to MLR?
Yeah, I mean, trying to make a long story short, to be honest, it was probably in about December 2020. So around that sort of COVID time, we were all in, and I kind of spoke with Saracens and realised that my sort of plus 1 year arrangement was probably not going to materialise in my favour with guys coming back from loan. And I completely understood that. There was nothing personal against me or whatever. Unfortunately, just with the position I was in and competing with England internationals, it was kind of like, am I going to play a lot of rugby the following year? The answer was going to be probably not. And the age that I am, 28 going on 29, I didn't want to be in a position as well to not be playing. So really then it was kind of, I remember it was my wife or fiance at the time sort of turned around and just said, it was like over, I think just after Christmas, and just said, I'm ready for an adventure, kind of a sabbatical from her job. And it was at that point, it was like, right, well, the green light's been given. The decision now is pretty easy. I always had in mind that I wanted to do Major League Rugby, and whether it was maybe in earlier years, or even maybe a bit later down the line, I always wanted to do it. That is the experience that I wanted in my rugby career. I wasn't really interested in going to France or Italy, or even potentially, I don't know whether I would have been given the opportunity, but like Japan, it didn't even come into my mind, is what I'm trying to say. Unlike some of my other mates, it was America, for obvious reasons, for the national team, but also to be part of something which is growing, and something which is just really exciting, which I believe the MLR is just everything on that. Then in terms of the West Coast, it was pretty easy. I had some, great chats with other MLR teams, but ultimately it was, I think, as my wife, it was a bit like, kind of want to be on the west side, enjoying that nice weather, and the Legion obviously were. I remember sort of coming to agreements almost before, I think, the 2021 season started. I was already kind of in more, I say, conversation / sort of getting some stuff down or whatever. And albeit last year for the Legion wasn't the year that they wanted, but before that they just clearly looked like a good rugby team, good rugby environment, and equally they're based in San Diego.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier, and last year, of course, Rob Shaw came in, a lot of hype of him joining the team. He got hurt. Nono wasn't there. Wasn't the year the team had. You're there now. They're back. Rob Shaw's healthy. Bauman's back. Joe Peterson's there. What is it like right now in camp with these guys? Because I'm trying to do the age difference here. I'm assuming Rob Shaw's someone you watched when you were young.
Yeah, for sure. I think back. I think I remember playing Chris when I was at when I was at Exeter or Northampton. I can't remember.
Oh, right.
For sure. I mean, these guys that you mentioned there are just great veterans and so good to have around. I mean, like I've come wanting to learn of someone like Mar Nonu. I mean, he's just an outright legend of the game, and I think legend, the word gets bounded around a fair bit, but honestly, I do remember very much growing up and seeing him and just thinking like, wow, this guy is just unreal. And even at the age that he is, he's still got it. There's no doubt about that. I wouldn't want to be on the rough side of him, put it that way. It's just great. It's great for someone like myself, but it's just great for like the American talent and the American development and players. And the other thing which was really exciting is to play with the likes of like Nate Osberger and Ryan Mattias, people who I've known over the years playing with the Eagles and are good friends with. That made it also easier to make that decision to go to San Diego, if that makes sense. So as much as having the veterans is brilliant, there's also that great mix of American talent and American experience as well.
And that's going to be helpful when it comes to Eagles camp, right? So you're possibly playing 9, 10, or Augsburger, whoever is going to be your scrum half now. You're going to get a lot of playing time together, which I think is important. I think it's something that the Eagles don't usually have with their teammates. Yeah.
No, you're so right. I remember actually before the World Cup in 2019, we played Japan in the Pacific Nations Cup in Fiji, and we actually had a really good game against them. But I was so I knew Japan obviously from the World Cup before they beat South Africa. They were really kind of were building up. I remember playing against them thinking like, this team is something. And I remember speaking to a few of their guys at the end, and they were saying how much time they had with each other, which included obviously playing in their top league, and how the top league in Japan had massively benefited their national team of just guys playing with and against each other week after week. And I just thought that's going to be massive for the MLR going forward with the national team. It's almost like a duty, I think, as a national team player to almost looking to play in MLR to help it grow, but also, as you just said, it's going to benefit the national team hugely going forward. And look, the benefits may not massively be seen in the very short term, but in the long term, for sure, building up to hopefully a Rugby World Cup in the US. I think you're going to look back and think, well, why was the reason that USA Rugby's growing? I think a lot of it will have to do with the fact that people are playing in the MLR.
Where's the coaching staff see you slotting in on the field? Fly half, fullback. I know with Joe around, I'm assuming you two are going to have to figure out where you're playing.
Yeah. Oh, look, I came here honestly. I was actually speaking to someone earlier today about asked the same question, kind of like, well, why did you come here, type thing. I came to enjoy it as much as everything. I want to be a better player. I always will do until the day that I hang up my boots. I want to be better, and playing in. You mentioned those veterans earlier. That's going to only help me. Maybe having more of a leadership role is also just I'm really enjoying. After being, at Saracens, there's so many amazing leaders. You almost feel like, can you really get a word in when it's already been said by an Owen Farrell or an Elliot Daly or Mario Toje. So I mean, ultimately, I think I've enjoyed sort of getting back into fly half, albeit as well in the sort of pre-season games. I'm just feeling like, I need to stand a bit flatter, and I need to just, do you know what I mean? Just the reminders of playing 10, and I believe hopefully I can be valuable to the team in that position. But equally, kind of going back into 15 as well, particularly a role that I play with the US, and I'm more than happy to sort of fit into that as well, so long as I'm playing. So, I mean, look, I don't mind wherever I am, ultimately. I just want to, add good value to the club.
So I want to go off script here a little bit, or off notes. I'm assuming you're watching some of the rugby from over in Europe, Premiership or whatever else. And speaking of number 10s, have you seen AJ play much at all this season?
Oh, of course. Yeah. He's fire.
It seems like he just has a grasp of it. He doesn't seem very fast, but his dummies and everything else are just setting up the team for scoring opportunities. Do you see yourself in AJ? You know what I mean by that? Do you see you having the same set of skills that maybe AJ has as well? Is that like a common set for fly halves? It's just AJ's just doing it better than anyone else right now?
Well, if AJ's listening, then I've definitely got more pace. But no. Well, first of all, just like he's playing some great rugby. I think for any sort of number 10, aspiring number 10 out there, go and watch AJ, because just the way he has so much time on the ball, and you could just tell the guy's got confidence. I just think life for him's going really well. He's the birth of his daughter. His family's getting bigger now in numbers. Yep. I just think he's really enjoying himself. I know he's making the move to Bristol, which I think is going to be brilliant for him. I really hope it's great for his family as well. And you can just see a guy who's just enjoying his rugby. For sure. Look, I definitely sort of watch AJ and aspire to do some of the things that he's doing, for sure. And maybe there's elements of my game that, I can hopefully sort of implement and do similar to maybe what AJ does. But AJ's AJ, and he really is one of the best 10s in the Premiership at the moment. And that's great for him, but great for USA Rugby. And for me personally, if I'm going to play more at 10 at San Diego, I look forward to that. And whether that might be getting a shot in the 10 jersey, or rotating or coming in for AJ, whatever it might be, in whatever role, whether it's 15, 10. So I can only think it's going to be a great thing for USA Rugby. The fact that AJ's doing so well, and then someone like myself just trying to, learn off people like him too.
Yeah. And talking about learning off of people, let's talk about your coaching staff at the Legion. Danny Lee's got a ton of experience. New Zealand, tons of Super Rugby experience, coaching in New Zealand and Japan. What has he brought to the team, and, what are you getting out of him?
Yeah, I think Danny's great. I'm really liking working with him, early days. But ultimately, one of his, I do feel for him, is it's been difficult. It's been challenging. Guys we still haven't had in due to visa issues or COVID protocols, travel issues, which I know is a problem throughout the MLR. It's the world we live in. So I do feel for him that he's come in at the deep end, right? But I just like his aura about it. I guess I haven't actually worked with any Kiwi coaches before. As such, I know Stevie Brett very recently has come in with the US and highly rated him with our attack. But yeah, I think Danny's kind of the first proper Kiwi coach that I've had, and I just like the way he's quite relaxed, but also demands like us to do well, you know, and have high standards, but also have a really good culture. I think he's really driven that early days, which I think is really important for us with maybe quite a few new players, but also guys who've been here before, just to merge us together. So. I've just had some really good talks with him, and I think he wants the best out of me too. I mean, one of the conversations I had today is he was like, "I don't want you worrying about other things or other areas of the team. I just want you focusing yourself." And I was like, "Yeah, like little conversations like that sparks that kind of like, right, you know, he's right. Go out there and think, focus on myself." And I just think he's going to be really good for us going forward for sure.
Have you heard much about the Legion fans?
The cohort. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was another reason of wanting to get down here is I do think that the Legion fans are some of the best of the MLR. That's no doubt. Great following, great rugby support, and really looking forward to taking the field and having them behind us. I hear they're very passionate, which is great, and I'm sure they're wanting to get behind us after maybe a disappointing season before. Looking forward to having their support.
And it's looking like, from the popularity of the Rise of Rugby ad, Will Hooley's like the face of MLR.
No, you know what? Straight away, my mates brought me down to earth and said, "You've definitely got a face for radio." Which I was like, well, you know, if it means that I might be useful for something, then fair enough. No, I think it was purely coincidence that I was in that position. In that MLR advert, no, not at all. I like I say, but at the same time, I don't think you can shy away from the fact that they want to bring out sort of American rugby players, and ultimately, I'm all in, you know, to helping the game grow, whatever way I can do, whether it be on or off the field, and. You know, it's I'm definitely not the face of the MLR at all. But at the same time, if it means being in that position to help the game grow, then so be it. I'll take the ribbing for it as well.
Well, it looked like a lot of fun to shoot the ad. You know, it's not often you see Cam Dolan miss a couple tackles, passing amongst friends there. But I mean, how much fun was that shooting that?
It was great, actually, and I said to, so we're in Dallas for a weekend, and we shot that. It's amazing how 1 minute 20 of filming, considering we must have been filming for about 7 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it condensed into that, but I really enjoyed like seeing the other guys from different teams. You know, someone like DTH Van der Merwe. You know, I've played against him a bunch of times in Canada, but never really had proper conversation. And you know, it's great to have some time and we get on, and it's the same with a bunch of the other guys as well from other teams. And I did say, I said, I'm not sure that it would really work with guys in the Premiership. I think it's quite like, I don't know, there's so much rivalry and maybe even something like egos. I don't know, it'd be a bit awkward, I think, of a weekend. Maybe. I'm not saying definitely, but do you know what I mean? I think.
Yeah, I do.
Meanwhile, it was very just like, you know, everyone was getting on, and you kind of like, we're all in the boat of like, you know, we want to see the game work and grow. We want to see Major League Rugby sort of develop. So everyone was all in. And that's what I meant before about the whole, like, well, yeah, obviously being the one who's celebrating at the end. But, you know, I think you realise you've got a responsibility as a player, particularly a USA Eagle or whatever it might be, to help grow this game in the MLR, whether it be on or off the field.
If anything, you have a nice acting career ahead of you when you're done playing. So, looking at this 2022 season, you know, really, generally speaking, what are you looking forward to the most?
I just love the whole, for me, the freshness of it. And I mean that in all departments, whether it is just waking up every day training in like sunshine and training with a bunch of guys who are just keen and want to have good fun. You know, playing in San Diego. I mean, what an amazing experience. Feel very lucky. But like an away trip to New York, or just, you know, going to see different other parts of the US. It's just so cool. So what am I looking forward to most? Honestly, I just think it's the league as a whole has just been so different to what I've been in before, whether it be the Championship, the Premiership, or whatever. And also just kind of, I do believe like it's a kind of blank canvas, the MLR, and you don't really know kind of what teams, what they're going to bring, what to expect. There's some great individuals, obviously, but I don't know. I just, it's a hard question to answer. What am I really looking forward to? But honestly, it's just the freshness of the whole tournament for me, which is just great.
Well, the travel, especially, part of it. You had with Bedford or Sarah's, and there weren't many games you took flights to, so pretty much all of them. Maybe you'll drive to LA and I forget whatever else is close enough. There's no team in Las Vegas, so that's not going to happen. But is that traveling? And many of the players I talk to, it's the same thing. They get to see cities they've never seen, like say New York, or come to Boston or Seattle. It's all such different, almost different climates, west to east. So you're going to enjoy that.
No, for sure. And then even like just the different sort of cultures as well that we've got even in our team. I'm looking forward to just, getting in together and bonding strong as a unit. You got guys from New Zealand, you got guys from South Africa or Argentina and America, and me and Chris obviously coming with our English accents. It's just a really nice mix, and it's different. It definitely feels different to kind of the English rugby that I've been a part of, and it's not disrespectful to the English rugby, but it's very much result, and we are result driven. Obviously, at San Diego, we want to win the championship, but ultimately, rugby in the UK is very result driven. It's very much sort of process of this, that, and whatever, and I think maybe goes away from enjoyment and the getting to know each other and stuff like that, which I don't know. I already feel like that's a nice thing about San Diego and maybe probably the MLR overall.
Well, to me, it sounds like after that stint with Saracens, between injuries and whatever else, that it's a kind of a rebirth for you. You're excited again about the game.
Yeah, no, I think, maybe you're right. And I go back to that word of sort of freshness. It's just like, we got Utah Warriors in the first game at a place that I haven't played before, at SDSU Sports Deck, against a team that I've never played before, and I'm in a team that is new to me. I see that as like really exciting, to be honest. Rebirth, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I just want to enjoy it, and as much as I want to perform as much as possible, but I know I'll perform because I'm enjoying it, and it's hard not to enjoy it when you're here in San Diego. Off the field, but also, as I say, on the field as well, playing with some great players in a great environment. The weather's great, and I know we all are wanting to achieve as well.
Well, I think that's a great way to end it. Thanks so much for your time here. Good luck this season. I know you're not coming through the Boston area this year. I don't think you're playing the Free Jacks. Maybe they'll face you in the playoffs, face you in the finals maybe, and hopefully I'll see you there.
Cheers, Bill. Thanks very much. And great work what you're doing as well. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, man.